told us that this week felt like you were getting back to normal, being a starting quarterback, like you have your whole career. But this is going to be your first NFL start. What does that opportunity feel like in this moment?
Feels good, but we cool, calm, collective. Like this ain't nothing to us.
And what do you hope to show against this Raiders defense, your teammates, yourself, and these Browns fans with their play today?
I'm who they've been looking for. Appreciate it.
Not the mic drop in his first start. And hey, listen, he went out and delivered. 11 of 20, 209 yards, a touchdown. He did have the interception, but that pass right there got a few people up on their feet. And how about this, guys? Shedeur Sanders becomes the first Browns quarterback since Eric Zaire, in 1995 to win his first career start. Insane work. The Browns get it done. They take down the Raiders 24-10. And Shedeur, post-game, obviously very, very excited to get the win. We had Dad in the stands celebrating. Shedeur also mentioned his mom being in the stands there as well, too. But this was a really big deal, I feel like, for Shedeur Sanders going forward. There's been a lot of conversation about who he is supposed to be and when he was going to get that opportunity. Pete, when you look at the numbers, when you look at the performance overall, I'm going to give you first word. What did you think?
He should be the starting quarterback the rest of the way. I'm not going to sit here and say this was the greatest performance in the world, but he should be the starting quarterback the rest of the way. Find out what you have in him. You know what Dillon Gabriel is. He showed it. He's not the long-term answer. So now go find out what you have in Shedeur Sanders. He did a lot of really good things today. He did some really bad things today. But that's what you get with rookie quarterbacks. Now you got to see him grow. Let him go through the week again. Let him continue to grow as a quarterback. Find out what he is. Look, if Gabriel isn't the guy and Shedeur isn't the guy, you go back into the pool next year and you draft one. But if he shows down the stretch that he can be that guy, then you might not need to do that. Then you have a cheap quarterback and you can play him and build the thing around him. But today, there were a lot of really good things. There was also some really bad things. So that's what you expect from a young quarterback.
Hey, look, I'm a fan of it. I'm truly a fan of it. The NFL is about earning your opportunities, right? And obviously, Shedeur didn't get it how he wanted, and the fans wanted it a certain way. And I don't really know what happened with all that. But he had his opportunity today, and he said perfect timing. He said perfect timing. That's what he said. Because look, he made plays all outside the pocket. Like, he didn't play inside the pocket. Me and Ram were watching it. It seemed very like they only had a week it seemed like they only had a week of practice out there. But the Browns have a dominant defense. They got the greatest player in football right now, Myles Garrett, on the other side, and play like that on offense, right? Take care of the ball. Shedeur had the bad one, but for the most part, they ran the ball. It seemed like every time Shedeur got him out there, they took him out the game. That was a whole other thing. Judkins was running more quarterback in the low red than Shedeur. I like to see him more opportunities in the low red zone. But the kid has won a lot in his life. He's been a starter his entire life, and this is his job. This is his time to earn another start, and you keep doing it. And every time you win at quarterback, don't really matter what those stats are like. It gives you another chance to start the next week.
Yeah, I want to start with piggybacking off of what Pete said, just in terms of, and we talked about this a lot on this show, there should have been a point where he got this opportunity. Right? And for what Pete said, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you have 2 first-round draft picks next year. Let's see whether it's Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Let's see what we have there, because like Pete said, if we don't have our quarterback there, we can move around the draft board and draft one. That's one option. Or if we feel like Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur is that guy, now we have 2 swings at it in the first round to build around. You mentioned this defense is a dominant defense.
Oh, yeah.
It's a top 10 defense. Now you just need to continue to build up front and add more playmakers. But watching his performance today, I agree. There were a lot of good. There was some bad. He got on the interception where that was a great defensive call. And we knew with Patrick Graham's defense, he was going to be able to heat him up. There was going to be some looks that he hadn't seen before. But that's what you get when you're playing a rookie quarterback. But the biggest thing for me and my biggest takeaway from all of this was how he lifted the team. When he hit that deep ball that we saw to Isaiah Bond, they panned, and you saw Myles Garrett jump up with some excitement and kind of like look at the guys like, oh, okay, we might have us one. And that's what a player like this does for the Cleveland Browns. It gives them a lift, and they believe in it. And I think guys will tend to play a little bit harder for a guy that they believe in.
Don't you think they've already decided on Dillon Gabriel? I mean,
I can't say that.
Here was going to be my follow to that, because that's where I was going next. I wanted to know what Kevin Stefanski said after the game, and he is not naming a starter. He said, quote, I am not going to get into that when asked on who's going to be the starter next week. And so I don't know. What does that tell you?
See, personally, personally, I think we've seen what Dylan Gabriel can do, and it isn't it, to me. So why not find out what you have in Shedeur Sanders? Do I think in the back of my mind that he is it for the long term? No, I don't. But find out. And maybe he surprises people. Nobody thought Tom Brady was going to be it either when he took the field, and he proved to be arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. So I think we've seen what Dylan Gabriel can do. Now let's find out what Shedeur Sanders can do down the stretch. And if neither one can do it, go get one of those guys in the draft next year.
I'll say this. I think we've seen, but we can't speak for Kevin Stefanski.
What would you do? I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, for me, I would move forward with Shedeur. I've seen what I've seen out of Dylan Gabriel. I look at the film, and you study the film, and you understand how they've kind of. I don't even know what the correct word is, how they've kind of held Dylan Gabriel back in terms of how they've called the offense. They didn't push the ball downfield a whole lot with Dylan Gabriel. It was short, quick timing passes, get the ball out, and hopefully allow your playmakers to make plays. Shedeur, whether it was called or not, he was pushing the ball downfield, creating those throws, those explosives downfield. So that, to me, will allow the offense to open up. Now, Jerry Jeudy and guys like him, they have to step up. They have to step up. Jerry Jeudy can't make that play that he made. You know as well as I know, there's always pursuit and pressure coming. You have to protect the football because right there, you're going in to score. Whether it was 3 points or potentially a touchdown, you're in position after the quarterback made yet another good play on the day. But for me, I'm what you said. I want to see what Kevin Stefanski says because I believe last week, he said when Dylan Gabriel's healthy, he'll be the starter. And now it's, well, I don't want to get into all that. So for me, we'll see.
I think that's crazy because, Rand, you have to admit, Shedeur did enough to be named the starter next week. They won the game, right?
Yeah, but that's the Raiders. The Raiders stink. I mean, you got to look at it that way.
But even the players around Shedeur, it was bad football all over the field, right? And it is two different teams with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. They couldn't be any more different. Personality and play style. It reminds me of the New York Giants.
I was just going to say that.
When they threw Jackson Dart and Scadaboo in there, they didn't anticipate that this season. But a lot of energy, a lot of juice, a lot of excitement, some bonehead plays, but the game's got a lot more exciting. And the way Shedeur, everything's outside the pocket, big throws. He's running around the pocket. He's not staying calm and quiet in the pocket just yet. They couldn't get Dylan Gabriel to throw the ball downfield. It does almost look like he wasn't trying to throw the ball downfield. It seems like Shedeur is much more likely to push the ball downfield, and we know it's going to lead to a lot of good and some bad, but it's definitely way more chances to win the game if Shedeur's behind the center from what I've seen.
If he starts and plays poorly, then what do? Then you're going into the draft to get one. No doubt about it.
For sure.
No doubt about it.
That's any quarterback that play poorly.
But, I mean, these guys I don't.
So you're saying the leash is short for either way?
I don't think either one of them is the long-term answer, but I would play Shedeur to find out if he is. He might be. I could be wrong, but I would find out what he can do. Huh? I've been right a lot too.
The best part for me too, man, as a father, was seeing Coach Prime in there, just being excited for his baby. And I said it when he made the one big throw, and all I could hear in my head was Coach Prime, my baby, that's my baby. So it was a good moment for the Sanders family all around. Been a long time coming. Kid's been through a lot this year, facing some adversity, which I'm sure he's never faced on the football field before. And he's stepping up and he's proving it. But we know what this league is. It's a show-me-every-week league, and he's going to have to take it to another level next week.
You heard the confidence there and the pregame with Tiffany Blackman in that interview.
I love that, by the way.
Yeah, I love that, too. The mic drop and then goes out there and gets it done. So we will keep our eyes out on next week. The next game for the Browns is against the 49ers on Sunday. So we will see who's going to be the starter.
It's going to be a little tougher.
In that one. Let's talk about the Ravens, though, guys, because I remember there was a time on this show where we didn't think that this Ravens team was going to make it into the playoffs, and now I know you're tilting your head a little bit.
Not me.
No, that
wasn't me. I thought
they won the point.
No, I thought they would make the playoffs based on their schedule.
Either way, guys, they have now won 5 straight. They take care of the Jets today. We saw a little bit of a Derrick Henry resurgence as well. The big takeaway from this, though, is that they are now tied with the Steelers on top of that division. Both teams 6-5, but it certainly feels like two teams, Pete, that are going in opposite directions here.
Yeah, and again, the Steelers played on the road without their starting quarterback, so you got to put a little asterisk next to it. But I feel like the Ravens are on the rise and the Steelers are coming back to the pack. And when you look at it, they play 2 games against each other, so that's going to ultimately be what decides the division title. And the last one is the final week of the season. But the Ravens for some reason, we haven't seen the best of them. And when, I said this last week on the show. The Ravens have always played so well during the regular season and flamed out in the postseason. And so maybe this is the reverse of that. They haven't been great in the regular season this year. And even today, Lamar Jackson wasn't great today. And I don't know if it's because he can't run and he's limited and he's not doing the same type of things he normally does. But at some point, he's going to get all the way back. Their defensive players are coming back. They're all getting back on the field. And the Ravens, when they get in, and I still think they're going to win the division, when they get in, they're going to be one of those teams that nobody wants to play.
Yeah, Pete, and I couldn't agree with you more. Just because of how this game played out and how the games have played out since Lamar has come back. And we talked about it on the earlier segment, Logan, where you don't know how much he trusts that hamstring at this point. And then you look at it on today, they were 2 for 5 in the red zone, which is not Baltimore Ravens football. Just the threat of Lamar being able to run down there has opened up things in the past for Derrick Henry to be able to hit those creases and score those touchdowns. And then they were 2 for 11 on third down. And so I think as the season progresses, they're going to get healthier. And then, like Pete said, I think we're going to see the real Baltimore Ravens if they get into the playoffs. And I think right now they're just winning games how they're able to win games, whatever that looks like and whoever that may be. But it's all about them winning football games just to be able to get in the tournament, and then they'll turn it loose.
Yeah, I don't think any of us, we're all agreeing that the Ravens are on their way up and they're probably going to make the playoffs. We were all shocked at the beginning of the year of how they played. I mean, they were like preseason Super Bowl favorites, and then they lost some close games. They were fumbling. Then they had all these injuries. Well, they're getting healthier, and they're still one of the only few teams that have like a top 5 quarterback and a top 5 running back. And I don't really care what's going on. When they're both back there, it's hard to defend. You add in Zay Flowers getting back in line. You add in Kyle Hamilton, a top DB in the league, Roquan Smith, right, defensive line. Like, they just have so much talent and experience at players that they're just going to end up finding ways to win games just on that alone, right? You're not going to hold this team down for 17 games. So I think Lamar Jackson's back. He's not his full self yet, but it seems like they're getting healthier. It seems like they're playing better, and they are going to be a team. And this is the most wide-open year of the playoffs I can imagine, right? There is going to be a team in the AFC, Denver, New England, the Colts, that got to play the Ravens. And some people are going to pick the Ravens as favorites in that game and say, well, what about the Ravens? They had so many injuries. They had such a rough year. But I'm going to take Lamar Jackson in this one versus that other team. So they might be the team you don't want to see, but they're definitely going to come back just because that talent is so high in what they got.
The Ravens are known for running the football. That's what they're known for. And you mentioned Henry had a resurgence. He only averaged 3 yards per carry today.
I just meant he got into the end zone twice.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But, I mean, I'm saying their running game, and Lamar Jackson, 7 carries, 11 yards.
Yeah.
That tells you, that sends a message all the way to everybody that he's not even close to being healthy.
It's interesting, too, all of the things you guys are talking about. Week 7, that was, 5 weeks ago? They were 3.5 games back. That's where the playoff conversation and where all that came from was, what is this, to your point? It was a historically bad start for this team. So the fact that they've rallied and now they're in first place. And then when you look at the rest of the schedule, Pete, something you're always talking about is how favorable it is, right? Because they've got the Bengals, the Steelers, the Bengals again, and then they finish with the Patriots, Packers, Steelers. I mean, realistically, how can they finish the season?
Well, I think they'll beat the Steelers twice and win the division, and that's all that'll end up mattering because nobody else is going to catch them in that division. But I think they beat the Steelers at home and at Pittsburgh if that game matters. That game, by that time, that game might not even matter. I mean, they should beat the Bengals twice, I would think.
What do you think about that Patriots game?
That's a tough game, but it's at home. You're supposed to win that game. And I think they will win that game. So the Packers game's a tough game. So say they go lose 1 or 2 games down the stretch, I think they win a division, provided they beat the Steelers twice.
And look, they haven't had their best season, but it's the worst that division's been in a long time.
Yeah.
That was one of the best divisions in football for a long time. It was a tough division, right? The Ravens dealt with injuries this year. Joe Burrow, obviously, injury was not what the Bengals were expecting. The Browns couldn't make a quarterback decision or make a right one this year, and they're wasting a great defense, what the Browns are doing this season. And then the Steelers, right, had the Aaron Rodgers injury. So I can't remember, Pete, you've been covering this league for a long time and ran as well. I can't remember the last time this division was that bad. It almost works out in the Ravens' favor because even banged up, they're still in it, and they can walk away with it, and it's not even a strong year.
Yeah, it's going to come down to Week 18. Simple as that. It's going to come down to Week 18.
Maybe not.
And because I think those that 2-game stretch where you have the Patriots and the Packers, I think they're going to lose one of those games, and potentially they could lose both of them. But like you said, you have Pittsburgh, you have the Bengals twice, you have the Packers and Patriots in there together, and then you finish out with Pittsburgh again. It's going to come down to that Week 18 game where if they win the division and they're in the tournament.
By the way, you mentioned this division. How many times? When has it ever been this bad? I don't remember it being this bad in a long, long time. But I also don't remember the league being this bad in a long, long time.
Is anybody any good?
No, I say it every week. Is anybody any good? No, they're not. And you said it when we were in the green room. This might be the most wide open playoffs that we've ever seen.
But this is what the league is built upon, being able to create parity and have these matchups that matter each and every week.
They love it.
There is a lot of parity. I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, and there's a lot of teams that we're not used to seeing. Patriots, Broncos, Bears, Bucks. It is a lot of fun. It's going to be a wild finish. All right, let's hit another break here on Game Day Recap. When we come back, we are staying in the North. Unfortunately, the Steelers not able to get it done, but I tell you what, the Bears have been pretty electric this year. We're breaking it down next on Game Day Recap.